Well, good evening. I'm your host, Robert Wilson, with Cowboy Wisdom Podcast. Tonight's podcast is Why I Embody the Courage to Unlearn the Past to Energize My Here and Now. I shed, shred, and communicate away the past to ignite my here and now. Wow. I've came to realize that much of what I thought was me was simply memory layers of inherited beliefs, viewpoints, and opinions, survival patterns, and outdated truths. The past taught me how to navigate, as it also taught me how to hide from my own trend-setting talents. It gave me structure, yet it also built the walls, a stall that held me back. So to embody the courage to unlearn is to choose presence over programming. It's never about rejecting the past, it's about releasing its grip. See, feel that, releasing the grip. And the grip is in the body, the emotional snapshots, the soul tattoos. It's more in the nervous system. And the mind follows the all them. It's And as you release the grip, you unlearn, and I claim the energy once trapped in old stories and direct it into the now. My breath deepens, my choices sharpen, my awareness expands. This is how I energize my here and now. Wow. Never by adding more, but by shedding, shredding, and communicate away everything that no longer serves me. The courage to unlearn is the key that unlocks the living visionary veracity within me. Why my choices today are controlled and manipulated from my comfort zone programming. Because it likes to be safe. Comfort zone programming rewards familiarity over freedom and sovereignty. Your brain is wired to favor what feels safe, even when it's limiting for your highest good. Past experiences, social conditioning, survival habits create a mental loop that whispers, stick with what you know. And how does that stick with what you know bestow you in yesterday and in the past? It does me. This loop quietly hijacks your choices, steering you toward predictability instead of the scenarios of stunning success. Autopilot decisions masquerade as free will. Most daily choices are never consciously crafted, the reaction shaped by old scripts. You think you're choosing freely, yet often you're just selecting from a menu of comfort zone pre-approved programming. Veracity choices requires disrupting that default and asking, is this mine or is this inherited? Because we inherited most of our stuff. The fear of discomfort keeps the present negotiating with the past. The comfort zone is never just cozy, it's controlling. It convinces you that discomfort equals danger. So you avoid risks that could lead to growth. That fear manipulates your now, making you choose safely over soul, repetition, over revelation. Why is past knowledge unrealized, manipulating fearful limitations? Unexamined knowledge becomes silent authority. Past knowledge, when left unquestioned, never just informs, it controls. It becomes an invisible rule book that dictates what's safe, possible, or acceptable. Without conscious awareness, it manipulates your decisions by reinforcing fear-based boundaries disguised as wisdom. And when you open up to understand the wisdom, you open up to the contours of your life. And contours are just kind of like the mirror life, but there's no boundaries. They're just flowing energy. Old lessons can morph into emotional landmines. What you learned in the moments of pain, rejection, and survival often embeds as the veracity. And veracity is I never lie to me. In truth, Truth has got viewpoints, opinions, and beliefs wrapped up inside it. And truth isn't always what it is. Those, as veracity was never chosen, they were absorbed. When left unrealized, they trigger fear whenever you approach growth, keeping you stuck in limitation loops that feel protective yet are actually restrictive. Fear thrives in familiar frameworks. Unrealized past knowledge creates comfort zone where fear feels justified. It whispers, "You've seen this before, never risk it." But that's not it. That's never intuition, it's programming. To rise, you must recognize that fear is always a warning. It's often a memory trying to repeat itself. Fear is an awakening when you listen to it and question it with a maverick moxie. You start getting into the root of it and release it from your life, because it goes from fear to first enterprising acumen, realizing you're moving forward. Why I embody the courage to unlearn the past energizes my here and now. Wow. Unlearning is an audacious awakening of inner authority and authenticity. As you embody the courage to unlearn, you stop outsourcing your veracity to past conditioning. You claim authorship over your choices, your voice, and your energy. That shift awakens your here and now, never as a continuation, but as a conscious innovation. Releasing old scripts restores present moment vitality. The past often runs like background codes in the frozen in time representation in your subconscious, but it's really emotional snapshots in your body's remembering, and it all kind of goes in one thing, but it often is the background noise in your in your heart, in your core and inside your body that goes up and then activates the mind. One thing about the mind, it always replays the pain of whatever the situation is. And that's one thing about pain. When you activate it, the subconscious, and when it comes from the body, it replays the pain for you. So when you open up to drain the pain, you open up to sustain your life with sassy tenacity, appreciating internal nerve. But it really does quietly shape your reaction, beliefs, and self-image. Unlearning dissolves outdated programming, freeing up emotional bandwidth and mental clarity. Your now becomes lighter, more responsive, and deeply alive. Embodying courage activates your energized, sovereign valor. Courage is never a mindset, it's a frequency. It's a frequency of your inner veracity, vitality, vim, and vigor. When you embody it, you move from fear to flow, from memory to mastery. Unlearning the past is never rejection, it's a refinement, and broadcasting your rainbow brilliance of today, calling your life with your dreams. It's how your presence becomes powerful, personal, and fully yours. Why wisdom rises me out of yesterday to here and now, as knowledge keeps me stuck in yesterday's modus operandi. Knowledge remembers, wisdom responds with fond foresight to light your light of life, traveling up your trails of triumph. Knowledge catalogs what was facts, formulas, and frameworks. It's a museum of mental artifacts. Wisdom, on the other hand, is alive and thriving now, unleashing your thrill skills to enjoy life. And wisdom, you listen to the moment, adapts and acts, while knowledge recites what you think you know and improvises. As knowledge recites, wisdom improvises your inner wise to move your life forward. Knowledge repeats wisdom, images your inspirations and your desired lifestyle. Operating from knowledge alone often means recycling old solutions for the here and now challenges. See, we don't have problems. We have challenges and awakenings. They're right here, right now. And if you can open up to challenges and awakenings, you never crawl into the moldy old grumpiness of yourself. Wisdom sees cracks in yesterday's logic and dares to design your desired lifestyle here and now. It's never bound by precedent. It's powered by presence and inner prowess. Knowledge is static. Wisdom is breathline. Knowledge is stored. Wisdom flows. It rises from intuition, experience, and awareness of what's unfolding now, right in your daily life. Wisdom never just knows, it feels, senses, and moves with life's rhythm, freeing you from the loop of outdated patterns of our habits and everything. Why the decisions I craft today is manipulated from yesterday's opinions and viewpoints and beliefs. Old beliefs act like invisible editors of your present choices. Even when you think you're choosing freely, yesterday's viewpoints quietly shape your options. They edit your thoughts before they reach awareness, filtering what feels right, safe, or possible based on past conditioning, never present moment veracity and verve. Inherited opinions create mental shortcuts that bypass inner wisdom. We often rely on familiar beliefs to make quick decisions, but those shortcuts are built from other people's fears, biases, and survival strategy. When you never pause to question them, your choices become echoes, never expression. Unquestioned viewpoints keep you living in someone else's story. Unquestioned viewpoints keep you living in someone else's story. That I realized and just rose out and witnessed that inside myself. So now I get to rise, shine, and energize, understanding the beliefs you absorbed yesterday from family, culture, or past experiences can become default scripts. If left unexamined, they manipulate your now by convincing you the growth is risky and change is betrayal. Natural freedom and sassy sovereignty begins when you now write the narrative of your desired life and the freedom you desire to experience. Why I rise by unlearning my viewpoints, opinions, and beliefs. Unlearning unlocks the wisdom beneath the conditioning of my viewpoints, opinions, and beliefs. Your viewpoints and opinions are often shaped by survival, culture, or borrowed narratives, never by your deepest truth. When you when you unlearn them, you peel back the layers of programming of your moldy old yesterdays and meet the raw wisdom, insight, and clarity of the here and now that's been awaiting underneath all the moldy old scripts that keep running in your life. Beliefs can be boundaries disguised as identity. And that's why if you go to contours, you're always moving forward. When you believe what you believe is never isn't always the truth, always who you are. What you believe isn't always who you are. It's often who you were taught to be. How do we live who we were taught to be through social obedience and everything? Rising begins when you stop defending outdated beliefs and start questioning them. That that liberation turns identity from a cage into a canvas that you can paint and draw and design your way. Letting go of mental certainty creates space for soul clarity. How's that feel? Letting go of mental certainty creates space for soul clarity. Opinions often comfort, yet they rarely offer growth. When you release the need to be right, You rise into presence, curiosity, and expansion. Unlearning is never a weakness. It's wisdom in motion, opening up your mystique and your energized wizardry. Why I unlearned and destroyed cognitive recollections, emotional snapshots, liberated my inner terrain from pain, unlocking my fervor, fame, and gamer's gumption to rise, shine, and energize. Mental archives can become emotional prisons. Cognitive recollection and emotional snapshots often replay pain like a highlight reel, reinforcing fear, doubt, and limitations. Where do you see that in your life? I see that in my life. But it's an awakening now. We can rise out of that. By unlearning and dismantling those internal reruns, you broke the loop of the loopy doop. That act never erased your story. It rewrote your access as it rewrites your access to power. Liberation begins where memory loses its grip. Liberation begins where memory loses its grip. You never just forget. You freed yourself from you. See, that's why I liberate me. Whatever you're doing I liberate me. Destroying the emotional residue of past experiences cleared in your inner terrain, making space for raw energy, innovative fire, and unapologetic ambition and audacity. That's where fervor lives, never in memory, yet in the momentum of your own Mustang moxie. Gamer's gumption thrives on here and now broadcasts, never replays. In the game of life, you choose to reset instead of replay, but you let go of reset to energize the here and now. You open up the wow. That takes courage. By unlearning the pain-coded patterns you unlocked your next level, where fame is never recognition, it's resonance. Your gumption is never just grit, it's strategy born from soul clarity. Why I unlearned the hidden limitations of self-help, personal growth, self-improvement, punctuated writings, therapy programming, awakens my imaged inspirations, intuitive innovations, and embellish my moneyed up accomplished outcome. Prescribed growth often reinforce polished stagnation. Much of self-help and therapy programming teaches improvement through framework. I feel empowering, yet subtly reinforce conformity. By unlearning these polished limitations, you stop chasing curated progress and start channeling raw intuitive prowess. That expansion awakens your original inspiration, images your desired lifestyle, the ones never found in the footnotes. Unlearning unlocks innovation beyond the scripted self-help, personal growth. Literature often punctuates your path, with shoulds and steps. Yet your genius never follows bullet points. It flows from inner visions. By dismantling those scripted expectations, you give a rise, shine, and energize to intuitive innovation that reflects in your unique rhythm, never cycled by advice. Liberation fuels outcomes that feel and fund authenticity. As you stopped performing improvement and started embodying clarity, your outcomes transformed. Moneyed up success becomes more than metrics, it becomes magnetism. Unlearning gave you the freedom to embellish your accomplishments with soul strategy and soul source brilliance. Why I unlearned the past, discerning my here and now. Wow. Unlearning filters out the static yesterday's noise. The past often clutters your present with outdated beliefs, recycled fears, inherited expectations, and blame and shame and guilt. By unlearning, you clear the signal, allowing your discernment to tune in to what's what's authentic, relevant, and resonant. Right? And you do it right now. That clarity is your wow. Discernment thrives when memory stops managing your mindset. When you stop letting past experiences dictate your present lens, you begin to see with precision. Unlearning isn't erasure; it's refinement and opening up to your paths of enlightenment. It's how you rise from reacting to remembering who you are beneath the programming. Because who you are is beneath the soul tattoos, the nervous system, uh, emotional snapshots, and your comfort zone programming. The wow of now is found beyond the familiar. Unlearning breaks that loop of predictable choices, open space for surprise, synchronicity, and soul level insights. Your here and now becomes a playground of scenarios of stunning success and bountiful bliss. Never a museum of memory. That's where your wow lives, is in the freedom and the sovereignty to choose freshly your desired lifestyle. Why I unlearned my parents' way of life, ancestral programming to rise of fresh wisdom, inspiration, and clarity. Inherited patterns preserve survival, never sovereignty. Your parents' way of life, ancestral programming, were shaped by their times, their traumas, and their tools for survival. While they may have served them, may have served them then, they often limit now. Unlearning them is never rejection; it's evolution. It's how you rise from inherited reaction to intentional innovation. Clarity emerges when you stop living someone else's lesson. Ancestral beliefs often come never wrapped in love, but also in fear, scarcity, and conformity. By unlearning them, you clear the fog of obligation and expectation. That's when your wisdom begins to speak, never as a rebellion, but as a revelation. Fresh inspiration energizes a fresh frequency of easy, energized listening, awakens your will thrills to ask maverick questions. You can never rise into your own clarity while tuned in to someone else's signal and story. Unlearning ancestral programming resets your inner channel to flow, allowing intuitive insight, creative flow, and authentic inspiration to emerge. It's never about forgetting your roots, it's about growing your wings. Why I unlearned the negativity of indoctrinated education, third world enslaving mindset, social obedience, to rise of energetic liberation, energized listening, maverick questions, sovereign activation, autonomous expansion, politically incorrect inspiration, cowboy wisdom, outlaw optimism, expressing revolutionary revelations, rising the world to free flowing liberation. Indoctrinated education trains compliance, never consciousness. Traditional systems often reward memorization over imagination, obedience over originality. By unlearning these program limitations, you claim your right to question, to feel, to innovate beyond the syllabus. That's where maverick questions are born, where true understanding begins and never ends. Social obedience is a soft cage of colonialized mindsets. Third world structures often disguise survival as virtue. teaching silence as respect, endurance as strength, and conformity as success. Unlearning this metrics is how you activate your sovereign valor. One who listens inwardly, never upwardly, that's a spark of autonomous expansion. Outlaw optimism is a here and now revolutionary revelations rising to my villa of vibrant internal luxurious liberation and appreciation. When you unlearn the fear-based scripts of should and must and stay small, you open up space for politically incorrect inspiration and cowboy wisdom. You become a living contradiction, wild yet wise, free yet focused. Your revolutionary revelations never just liberate you, they ripple outward, igniting the world with free-flowing fire of desire. Why unlearn my past optimizes here and now, liberation, wisdom, inspiration, clarity, fun, and humor. Unlearning the past narrative unlocks present possibilities and, and stunning scenarios of your desired lifestyle. The stories you once believed about who you are, what's possible, and how life should be can quietly limit your now. By unlearning them, you liberate your choices from outdated script, open space for spontaneous clarity, playful insight, and fresh inspiration. Wisdom is never what you know, it's what you've released. As authentic wisdom never comes from accumulating more, it comes from shedding what no longer serves. When you unlearn the past, you stop filtering the present through fear, guilt, or comparison. That's when humor returns, innovation, creativity flows, and your now becomes a playground, never a proving ground. Fun and freedom thrive in absence of mental clutter. Unlearning clears the emotional static that blocks joy. It's how you shift from overthinking to intuitive experiences, from seriousness to soulful laughter. How does that feel? Soulful laughter. When the past no longer weighs you down, your here and now becomes light, alive, and wildly optimized, showing your inner wizardry. Why unlearning my past awakens me to hearken to wisdom, innovation of my daily life. Unlearning clears the static so inner signals come through. Your past often speaks in echoes, old beliefs and outdated fears, inherited expectations. By unlearning them, you quiet the noise, tune into your own frequencies of foresight to ignite your light of life. That's when your daily life starts whispering wisdom through ordinary moments and unexpected insights and activities of your day illuminate your life. Letting go of old filters sharpens present discernment. When you stop viewing today through yesterday's lenses, you begin to see with clarity. Unlearning past assumptions allows you to hearken, never just hear the subtle cues of intuitive nudges, creative sparks that guide innovation in your everyday choices. Daily life becomes a living lab of fresh, insightful ingenuity. Unlearning transforms routine into revelation. You start noticing patterns of scenarios of stunning success and poetic veracity in places once overlooked. Wisdom is never locked in books. It's alive in your breath, your relationships, your choices. Innovation flows when you meet life with open eyes, seeing ears, and a clear and unburdened scenarios of your desired lifestyle. As I am Robert Wilson with Cowboy Wisdom Hypno Acuity, I want to thank you and may you enjoy a blessed fall weekend in a bold, bright way.